Hello, I just want to talk about the situation after the match today. Man United versus Man City, 3-0 at home. I've been watching this team for a long time, and it's been always up and down, but, as long as I've been watching at least. But right now, I'm just not sure where we're going. It seems like it's hitting a wall. I can't even describe it as a fan. We haven't played well since the World Cup. It's been almost a year, it feels like, since Rashford was on a tear. I don't know what's been going on lately, but it seems like we can't score a goal. Today's performance set aside, for the most part, I mean, there's not much to say about it, to be honest. Of course, we were not going to win this game, but I feel like there are bigger problems at the club overall, and it's hard to diagnose. We can start sort of with Ten Hag. Even having watched so many matches of David Moyes, so many matches of Van Gaal and Mourinho, and there was criticism abound throughout, but I sort of could tell what the system was and what they were going for. You know, especially with both Van Gaal and with Mourinho. But now I'm just not really sure what he's going for, Ten Hag. It seems all out of sorts. I mean, I know sort of what he's going for based on how he played at Ajax, but it just feels as though he hasn't made any particular player better, even if they can't adapt to his style and the game plan that he has. And after every match, it seems as though he wants to say that the players are doing what he's asking and they're executing. But I'm really not sure what he's talking about because there today was practically no passage of play that was particularly encouraging, to say the least. With that being said, it does seem like, going through the lineup, it's difficult to say that we have our best team out there, but regardless, it's tough to take positives away. If we can go through some of the players who are missing, of course, it's difficult. Casemiro, Varane, Reguilon is not available. That's not totally a big hit to the team. Obviously, Jadon Sancho not being a part of the team is, at this point, it's a lost cause, but it's still a blow. Anthony has been very, very, very middle of the road, very average. To have paid 100 million for him is really a disaster at this point. Let's be honest. I mean, it doesn't seem like he has a path forward to improving even. So with that being said, I mean, from every step of the way, from every point, there are problems at this club. From a managerial perspective, from a player's perspective, of course, in terms of talent, obviously, but even beyond that, there's lack of, I don't know, it's tough to say passion. That's a term that gets thrown around too frequently, I would say, but today was a disaster performance. I mean, even the guys that you look to in these sort of times were pretty absent today. And I don't know if that's the tactics, but there was no, I mean, in the sense that there was no opportunity for them to get involved, but it seemed like, to me, there was no opportunity to hold the team together, to make tough choices on the pitch. I mean, the second half speaks for itself, really. And it's not the first time we've seen a performance like that, where it's just like a clear capitulation, a falling apart of, if there was any game plan, any sense of what you want to achieve on the field. It just completely goes dead. And, again, looking back to the previous eras where, I looked forward to derby days with Van Gaal, especially with Mourinho too. When we played Liverpool as well, it was always something where you were waiting for, what are the tactics going to be? Because they would change and they would be sort of like molded, whether it was simply just playing more defensively. But I don't see that from Ten Hag. It seems like every time he puts a team out there, it's the same sort of thing. He's just like, go ahead, guys, execute. But, when you're playing a team like Manchester City, or any of the bigger clubs. It's, even in the Champions League, I feel that a lot. Like there's no sense of on the day tactical changes, and I felt that with the substitutes today too. I mean, to make halftime substitutes is strange in itself, but the way it was done, I didn't really feel like there was any notion to it. It was just sort of like, well, these are the guys I have available. Let me throw them out there and see if that changes anything. So, right, with all that being said, again, obviously you have the personnel, the management, and then you have the ownership, and that's a whole another can of worms. But I mean, like I said, there just seems to be no level of positives at this club right now. Looking back to last season, I mean, there were some things you could talk about being better, but toward the end of the year, toward the end of the season, I mean, I definitely felt like things were regressing. And now at this point, I just don't know what to make of it, really. We're at 5 wins, 5 losses in the Premier League. Every time we play Champions League, it just sort of seems like, well, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best, but it's just a hope. It's not a guarantee by any means. I mean, I'm just not really sure what exactly we're playing for and what exactly we're supposed to be doing on the field. So I don't know. And I don't even necessarily feel like this is a issue particularly with Ten Hag, but it doesn't feel like we're getting a lot of insight into what he is looking for and what type of player he wants. Because, I mean, if you look at the team sheet, it's not all his guys, but it's been long enough that he should be making an impact on the players to mold them. There are plenty of other managers who come into teams and don't have their perfect personnel lineup, but they still do quite a job, and he hasn't produced. So I don't know. I'm not going to say he should be sacked at this point because, like I said, this club has a lot more issues, and I think that's it's more of at an institutional level, but we're just not getting results. And I don't know. I want to see something change, but it's a very strange feeling right now where I'm not really sure how to diagnose this problem. And I haven't really heard anyone give compelling diagnosis either. It's just a can of worms. It's a lot of different things going on. And that's just how I feel right now as a Man United fan. So a disappointing day, but not surprised to say the least.